Good evening and welcome to CAFDIL HEALTHCARE on CAFDIL Television. I am your host, Kojo Arthur. On this show, we pick the right topics, we get the right guests, and ask them all the relevant questions on health that matter to you. And tonight, as usual, we are focusing on a topic that touches many lives, and they are often in silence, and that is trauma and resilience. Every day, a lot of people go through, or we all go through certain traumas, right? And that whatever we go through leaves emotional and psychological scars, being it accident, being it loss, being it, you can count them. But how do we really understand trauma, and how can we manage them in our Ghanaian context? My guests have already joined me, and I will introduce them right after the break. Stay tuned.
Since time immemorial, God has always communicated himself and his will through various voices: the prophets, the kings, the judges, not forgetting John the Baptist, who was a precursor to Jesus Christ and gave us the will of God. We bring to you Voices from the Valley. This is a program designed by the Conventual Franciscan Friars in Ghana in collaboration with CAFDIL TV to bring you in-depth insight in our faith, catechesis, and various Catholic teachings which will help you in your journey as a pilgrim. I know you cannot miss this program, and I highly encourage you that you shouldn't miss this program, because it is Voices of God from the valley of prayer and silence. Join us this and every Sunday at 3 p.m. and a repeat on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. here on CAFDIL TV and on our various social media platforms: YouTube, CAFDIL EDU, and Facebook, CAFDIL Cape Coast. Let us meet and share what God has for us through the Voices from the Valley.
Make me a means of your peace.
Welcome back. You're still watching CAFDIL HEALTHCARE on CAFDIL Television. We are live on Facebook, CAFDIL Cape Coast, and on YouTube, CAFDIL ED. Follow us, like, and share. My name is Kojo Arthur. Joining me tonight are Samuel Edem Kofi, a clinical psychologist from Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Jesalari Kobina is also a clinical psychologist, and Jonathan Amate, senior clinical psychologist, Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. I'm laughing because of the position. Anyway, you are welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I hope you all.
We are fine. Well.
Always the senior in everything. So let me allow the senior to set the stage for us. So to begin with, let's help our viewers to really understand what exactly is trauma.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's good to be back. It's good to be here. Good to be interviewed by you. So basically, when you say trauma, it is a very complex, multifaceted experience. Majority of the time, people go through very distressful or distressing experiences. All right, that leaves them, as he said, that leave them scarred. Someone would go through a very traumatic road accident or something very violent. Any situation that you go through, that to you as a person is very stressful or distressing, or it's very negative. Most of the time, it's very negative. all right, that will leave you thinking, that will leave you scarred emotionally. That, in the layman's perspective, is trauma. So we have people going through all forms of trauma, physical trauma. You have physical brain injury. You realize that you hit your head on something hard. You see that they will say that you have a significant brain traumatic injury. That is a physical trauma. And you have emotional scarring or emotional trauma, psychological. So you go through something very, very distressing. You go through something very violent. You physically or you psychologically, you become traumatized. You become sad. You become apprehensive. The slightest experience or the slightest circumstance that reminds you of that previous experience, you realize that you become your hands become a bit shaky, sweaty palms, and you begin to palpitate. All these things are significant traumatic symptoms. So when you say trauma, wholesomely or holistically, any experience that anyone goes through that is very, very most of the times violent, very distressing. The person goes through a lot of stress, and then most importantly leaves them scarring, or it has some kind of emotional scars on them. So on the low, in a layman's perspective, that is what trauma can be.
All right. So let me come to you. In our Ghanaian context, what are some of the common causes of trauma, and how do these experiences, affect people and their communities?
Okay, thank you for the question. So in our Ghanaian context, various causes of trauma can include road accidents, like my boss mentioned. So sometimes somebody has had a road accident. Because of that, maybe the person was a motor rider. Because of that accident, there's that fear after the accident that what if next time I take a motorcycle, I fall into this same accident again. So because of that, the person doesn't want to take a motorcycle again. Or somebody has been abused as a child. Growing up, maybe the father was very abusive. This person grows up and maybe has some, if the person is a lady, has some form of fear towards older men, because the person has this feeling that if somebody is talking to me and the person raises the hand, the person might beat me like my father did. So because of that, you realize that this person, when this person gets married, the person will have issues with the husband. Not necessarily because of the husband, because of the experiences, the negative experiences they went through as a child. And if it does that, it affects the person in society, because the person will not be able to function. We in psychology believe that if the thing is preventing you from functioning in daily life, then it becomes a problem. We all go through various things. Sometimes we're all keen whilst growing up, but maybe if because of a certain experience you're unable to do a certain thing now, then we say it is a problem. Then we say this person may have trauma.
So, my brother, would you also say that trauma is something many Ghanaians experience without even realizing it?
Yeah, I would agree that a number of us experience trauma, and then we don't even identify, or we are not able to detect the cardinal signs and symptoms of it. And so very often we are experiencing it and then we go in silence of it. And so yes, a lot of Ghanaian youth, adults have traces of trauma. They are living with it, and then they don't come out to report or see a professional for help.
You see it as normal, right? There is something. So some of them we don't even see it as a trauma, unless it leaves some kind of scars or made you remember something you may have gone through before you may realize that you are in trauma, isn't it?
Okay. So let me say this for basis of correction. Trauma is an outcome of your exposure to the distressing event. It becomes problematic when you lose control of these changes in your body, and then it begins to impact you in various aspects of your life. And so when you come to our facilities, we are able to tell that once upon a time traces of trauma began at, say, some time ago, you've been able to cope to some extent, and now you've lost control over your ability to adjust. And so we're able to do our assessment and ascertain that, oh, this is the degree and extent to which you've lost control over your ability to adjust to the past traumatic experience.
Amati, let's come or focus on our culture and the community in which we live, and how do our culture, beliefs, and societal norms in Ghana, influence how we understand and respond to trauma?
Yes, I think the impact that our culture, religion has on our understanding on trauma is very, very big. It's huge, because majority of the time when we realize that we are suffering from the byproducts of trauma, we normally attribute it to some kind of spiritual and underpinnings. So we find out that majority of the time we are going to the sorry, we are going to we are going to just to seek solutions. So there's a main religion, our superstitions, the kind of upbringing that we go through. Just like you said, majority of the time we realize that, growing up, your daddy used to cane me, and then he would tell you, it's the African way, it's the African way. They say you should spare the rod and then spoil the soul, yes.
Yeah.
But nowadays we have documentations coming out that the millennials, those of us who grew up in the 90s, we realized that we went through a lot of abuse, all in the name of home training. They used to receive belts, cane, and all those things are little bits, pieces of it. Will be traumatic, but probably majority of the time we repress them. All right, we grow and then we repress unconsciously all these things. When daddy will raise a cane at you, you are apprehensive, you'll be afraid. All right, and then that.
But it also made you do the right thing.
It will make you do the right thing, but at a long run, some of us cannot overcome that experience. Not all of us are able to overcome that experience. Some are fixated on that. Your daddy slapped you, so right now, if you are fixated on that and you're focused on that, you grow up and then men become an object of fear for you. Not all of us are able to repress. We all went through that traumatic experience, but majority of us repress. That means that unconsciously, that experience that you had with your dad, you've pushed it down, you've forgotten. Oh, that's my dad, he loves me, he buys me school, he pays my school fees, so we've buried it, and then we grow up, and then yes. But not all of us are able to repress it. That image of your daddy or your mommy bullying or shouting, some is still up here, it still works here. You grow up with it, you're anxious, you're apprehensive, and then it lets you do things that normally you do not want to do. So yes, you see it normal. It's normal.
It's not only in the house, in the schools,
as well. Your maths teacher, your French teacher.
Why do you mention your maths teacher?
Maths teacher and French teacher. It's because I've been watching short videos of. Can you give me examples of your maths teachers, teachers that were wicked in school? French teachers, maths teachers. Hey, the tonton is coming. Hey, they'll be running. Those are very traumatic experiences. Those are very, very traumatic experiences.
It's true.
Yes, but you have to pass through them as a Ghanaian. You have to repress them, and then you have to grow up with that. But in itself, it's traumatic. Not everyone will go through it unscathed. Some will grow up and have lots and lots of repercussions from it.
So your math teacher. All right. So, come on. You would. Is that you
yes,
want
yes,
to
yes,
add
yes,
some?
Personal observation currently, I've observed that in our Ghanaian society and culture, we've developed the culture of having less interest in mental health and illness. And I believe over the course of time, it influences our understanding of what mental health issues are, particularly what trauma is, and how one can build resilience. If youth and adults have very less interest in mental health, that means they'll have very inadequate knowledge about mental illness and then their well-being. And so if I am experiencing some cardinal symptoms of trauma, I might not know that this is indicative of it. Unlike if I have stomach ache, I could attribute it to something medical. With mental health, less interest in it brings about inadequate knowledge, and so it impacts our understanding of what trauma will be, and also to impact our early intervention, our need to respond quickly to that. Again, the culture of we being strong and then resilience, and then we overlook our ability to be vulnerable, also make a number of us suffer in silence. We've grown up to be taught or believe how to keep things to ourselves, learn to cope. And so, just as my boss said, you go once upon a time in time, and then your daddy once slapped you or said something harsh to you. So you grew up learning that keep it to yourself, learn how to cope. Okay, we never grew up learning to be able to open up to mommy. Oh, mommy, daddy did this to me, and mommy will find a way of talking to daddy. So what do? We keep it to ourselves. That culture of strength and resilience, let me not be misconstrued, it's a very healthy culture in the Ghanaian society, but I believe it's been wrongly integrated and taught to us, the youth and then the adult. And so in future we should integrate it in a more refined way, where they should add what vulnerability, that although we want you to be strong for yourself, want you to show resilience, there are points in time that when you over bottle up, be able to open up and talk about things that are distressing you. That way, one way or the other, we develop better understanding of what's happening to us inner than keeping it to ourselves, and we also develop better understanding of when to seek for help as well. Okay, to add up finally on the question, there's issue or culture of stigma, which is far-fetched, widespread in every aspect of our life. Stigma pertaining to mental health. And so a number of us, when we fear stigma or the shame and an embarrassment associated with quote unquote, you're experiencing traumatic symptoms, this is normal, why are you experiencing this? Technically the person will keep it to himself, and so it's impede our interest in knowing what is wrong with me or what is not wrong with me. When am I deviating from normalcy, or when am I adjusting better? Yeah. So these, together with what my boss said, are cardinal societal norms and culture that are impacting our understanding of what mental health.
So we have, or we sometimes say, or people sometimes say, oh, Bema soon you just have to be strong, yes. That kind of thing. Meanwhile, you are going through. Yes. So I want to know, do you think that mindset helps or hurts those who are going through trauma? Does it help or it hurts them? Really?
Okay. As I already stated, and let me reiterate carefully, the mindset of strength and resilience is a healthy mindset.
It's healthy.
It's a healthy mindset. But one thing that is missing is the integration or addition of the room to be vulnerable. Do you get me? So yes, as a man, you should be strong, withstand it. But then at a point in time that Adena Ashono, catch on say Asheme. Do you get it? So that if Obibekwa could say in Sio Abraham would on start tomorrow, you do it, then hold on to it, and then it's hurting.
What's the Bemin? So no, we say Bemin, so I get on car.
That's right.
Yeah. So Adam, like he said, let's see some traditional community-based ways Ghanaians have used to cope with, difficult experiences over the years. What are those ways that, like he said?
So we can talk about churches. People turn to religious leaders for support during traumatic issues. Things that maybe they're supposed to bring to a psychologist, they tend to take it to the church. So I'm going through a divorce issue. It's very stressful for me. Instead of me to come, so maybe there's maybe it can be a simple issue of maybe communication problems, or maybe because something was done to me in the past, so because of that I'm bringing it into my new relationship. I'll take it to my pastor, and the pastor will also say, oh, it is my grandmother who is working against me. And sometimes I realize that with the spirituality, it gives us a sense of understanding. We use it is our way of understanding things, so we tend to go to those places for support instead of going to psychologists. And then another way that we deal with it is, like my colleague said, keeping it to ourselves. we have been told, oh, if you are a man and you cry, this thing too, should you even be crying? So in a kind of way, it has also helped us to cope with stress. So somebody will be going through something. Oh, bro, are you okay? Oh, I'm fine. Don't worry. But he's burning inside.
Men come once more.
Yes.
We are near crowd Bruno.
Exactly.
But how dare you go and say it?
But he's not able to say it. And maybe another common thing in Ghana too is maybe sometimes maybe if as men, if we meet with our colleagues, the boys, we get to talk about stuff that when the women are there, we will not be able to talk about. Because I mean, if it's the boys, you'll be able to maybe empathize better than you see. When you're a man in this context, when you're a man and you show a certain form of weakness in quotes, especially when ladies are there, they will tell you, I mean, the society will say, hey, as a man, you're supposed to be strong so that the lady can look up to you and also be strong. But if the men are there, at least we feel more comfortable and more safer because it's men. So that these are several ways we cope with the trauma in Ghana.
A human sika and the way I am. Or sorry, no, so you will just dash it out, going through. But you, like you said, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Remember, bro?
Yes, lots of time.
Remember, we are going through. But so if you take the two, men and women, who goes through that trauma most at times?
So traditionally, women are more prone, are more susceptible to the byproducts of trauma because they are viewed as the emotional types. If you are more emotional, you are more prone to some of these things. The concept of a man being strong stems from what is known as stoicism, where people, as a man, you have to be very disciplined, you have to be very strong-willed. Being these things will make you naturally built to prevent effects of trauma. So you're a natural born leader. You're supposed to be strong-minded, strong-willed, you are disciplined. So when you go through a very distressing event, the probability that you will be traumatized is small compared to a lady who is emotional. The slightest thing, they are crying, they are this thing. So they go through such traumatic experiences much more than their male counterparts. But there's always hope. Women are also they are able to learn quicker than the male counterparts. They adjust quicker than their male, all because of their level of emotional adjustment. Yes, they can make emotional adjustments. Unlike the man, you are strong-willed. So you are doing something. You tell a man who is strong-willed to change his ways, you block you. No, this is the way that I am. So no, I have to do this. But this way is also hurting you. So you can't. You are dogmatic. That's what they say. But a lady is also free in thinking, okay, I used to do things like this. Now, okay, I'm advising me to do things in CCCAZ. So, although they suffer the effects of trauma, most times they are able to learn adaptively really quick to catch up. Yes, suffer.
So men don't easily break down.
They do not easily break down because of the nature, because of the leadership mindset of a man.
Okay.
Naturally, evolution predicts that or predates that men are supposed to be like that. So they are not susceptible to traumatic experiences that much.
But you Adam made mention of when people visiting churches and when they go there, are they able to solve their problems for them?
So with that, it's you see, with the church, then it's more of psychological. So if I come and the pastor says, "Oh, situation it gives me a mindset that I can be helped." So you would even naturally build resilience. And sometimes you may think maybe the pastor is praying for you, but most times when we go to church, sometimes our own mindset that God can help us to solve a certain problem helps us to even build psychological resilience without we ourselves even knowing. So the person is going to church, the pastor is saying, this problem is solvable, don't worry, bring this, bring that tomorrow, we'll do it and it will be fine for you. Quickly, the person starts to reframe internally. That's okay, the pastor said, me a day obey ye. Suddenly you realize that the person will start being happier, start letting go of things naturally. Yes.
Now, breaking the silence that you've made mention of, there's often silence or even shame around talking about emotional pain or trauma itself. So, how can we begin to break that stigma in Ghana? Kwabena made mention of the stigma. How can we break those stigma?
Well, to trade joke, we have to make loud noise. Okay, so let's get it. We can break the silence and the stigma associated with trauma or mental health in general by redefining our culture around it. I stated earlier, we have the culture of showing less interest. Okay, so if Ghanaians begin to develop interest in their mental health, their interest in their colleagues' mental well-being, that means it gives professionals the chance to begin to harness on their education. And if we are educating, and then my mom at home is not interested in listening, or my colleague somewhere is not interested in listening, that means our work is hitting hard rock and then bouncing back at us. Okay, so we have to refine our cultural interest in our mental health and our mental well-being. That is one way of breaking the silence. Again, we can also break the silence by integrating vulnerability in our society, where our growing children, we teach them to be vulnerable, particularly not be weak, but I mean strong and vulnerable, where you can open up to your parent or your elderly siblings or younger ones about the distresses you're going through. It's very important because when people are not taught to be vulnerable, it reduces their ability to open up. And so if they are not able to open up, we have less knowledge about individual differences as to the experiences of what traumatic events they've gone through. So say person A and B go through similar traumatic experience. Because they are not able to open up, you can't tell how person A is responding to it or person B is responding to it. Okay, so these two things are key. Again, by way of education, we can educate people about what trauma is and then available resources there is, so that at least, if not for anything, I know that what I'm experiencing is indicative of what the professional once upon a time came to talk about. And then they mentioned that I can seek help from here, or even in community base, I can seek help from my assembly member or anybody in charge. So these are very key in helping us break the silence and deal with stigma as well.
All right, so you're still watching, you wanted to add some?
Yes, so right now there's an upsurge of social media influencers. So we can use that route also to help spread the word about trauma, mental health, and then psychological well-being. So it's not all about, it shouldn't be all about the food challenge, dance challenge. It should be about mental health education challenge, where we get in contact with some of these TikTokers to push mental health on social media. It'll help a lot.
All right, so you're still watching CAFDIL HEALTHCARE on CAFDIL TV, and we are discussing trauma and resilience. I'll go for a short break. When we come back, I will ask them, we have families, we have friends, we have close circles. What can these people do to help those who are traumatized? Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Since time immemorial, God has always communicated himself and his will through various voices: the prophets, the kings, the judges, not forgetting John the Baptist, who was a precursor to Jesus Christ and gave us the will of God. We bring to you Voices from the Valley. This is a program designed by the Conventual Franciscan Friars in Ghana in collaboration with CAFDIL TV to bring you in-depth insight in our faith, catechesis, and various Catholic teachings which will help you in your journey as a pilgrim. I know you cannot miss this program, and I highly encourage you that you shouldn't miss this program, because it is Voices of God from the valley of prayer and silence.
Join us this and every Sunday at 3 p.m. and a repeat on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m.
here on CAFDIL TV and on our various social media platforms, YouTube, CAFDIL EDU, and Facebook, CAFDIL Cape Coast. Let us meet and share what God has for us through the voices from the valley.
Lord, make me a means of your peace.
All right, welcome back. Are you still watching CAFDIL Healthcare on CAFDIL Television? And we're live on Facebook and also on YouTube. Like and share. Let me come to you, Adam. You see, families, friends, close circles, they are all there. So what role can they play in supporting someone who is being through a traumatic experience?
Okay, thank you for the question. So for our friends, first of all, let me talk about the family because they are the first agents of socialization. Sure. So they can hold presence for us. If I say hold presence for us, be there for us, empathize with us, understand the pain we are going through. You see, in Ghana, it's very easy for somebody to say we experience things differently. So you see, my colleague talked about public education. So we help people to understand that trauma is a thing that exists and it can be very detrimental to mental health. So that say be cut the motor down, they be girl Jan, no and yeah, one can't change the old age we like to do that a lot in Ghana. Instead, yes, there are plenty of fishes in the sea. Instead, we can understand that no, just because I would have handled the situation this way doesn't mean my colleague too automatically should see it that way and be able to meet people where they are, because human beings are very different. We are all individual, uniquely designed. So the way we interact with the world is different. So sometimes one thing that may traumatize somebody may not traumatize another person. So as a family member, what you can do is the support system, because you are with the person at home. So let's take a physical head injury, like my boss said. The person, so what can you do? You can support the person by one, being there for them. Two, any medication, anything they need to get, you can help them to get it. It shows care and support. If we do this, the people will be encouraged to be able to share their issues with us, because they know that when they talk to us, we are not coming from a place of judgment, but from a place of empathy and care. So for their friends, what they can do is visits. When they visit, maybe words of encouragement, helping the person to know that, oh, we understand you, these things happen, we will get through it, but not invalidating the person's pain by coming to say, oh, and because of that, people keep things to themselves a lot. And the problem with the keeping things to yourself a lot is it builds up like a charge. So imagine you're filling a bucket of water, a bucket with water. You realize that as you fill and it gets to the brim, it will overflow. And that's how emotions are. When you keep it within you because you feel you're not in a safe environment where you can express yourself, you realize that you keep putting it in yourself, and at some point you will explode. So one time you will freak out, and then maybe you have to be brought to the hospital. But instead, if your friends, your family, and even your workers are showing you empathy by understanding your situation, being there for you, offering any support, any way they can to support your mental health, I think this can help people break free from the cycle of trauma.
If you are all no get it to them, I can't get it, Johnny. Now all could be I thought to be I was a man over to you.
Yeah, it's inside making the amazing can get the whole presence. Make the whole presence. You are not coming there to fix or correct anything. You are not coming to say, "Girl, you're stupid," or "You day and Masami and can be free relationship way back." You are coming to let the person understand that, oh, what's your ways is or your sampara. Mwa habibi o here at Asibia. Sepede so feel freeness ye nyimpa. Ayos oba. That's the whole thing. We first do that or start to recover psychologically. That's why we can offer guidance. So if you don't get back to toxic situation, but you see the problem with we humans is when we see an issue, we are quick to fix.
Sure.
It's important back to the girl ye jam and the pokona for sure and jam catch the girl no papa. Simon can be filmed, it doesn't solve the problem. Rather, you are helping the person to start about you or you mean answer don't go through relationship.
I can't get and house and be an and nobody defend again.
Exactly.
With the hope that
we'll get back exactly.
Hey, go far, bro.
On easy. On easy at all.
With the social support and to them most family members, social support has been a strong predictor of better psychological well-being or good psychological well-being with 1 hour hospitals obi or them pum obi ambassador, but only one family member dobashan wa pum bone any mood as a son be elevated is above an injury. So this goes to show that family, friends, the kind of relationship that we have with some of these people is very, very important. Human beings, what's in the air? We are gregarious. Gregarious are the nyimpa here nyimpa. Nyimpa here nyimpa. We need each other. And so being put the hospital bed, man, now be go through certain situation and friend umpo. Like I say, what's up? And when you are watching then onumpo on my literature. So as part of measures to help, we need to family members, friends should create that conducive atmosphere. Thank you.
So in creating safe space for people to talk and heal, how can faith leaders, teachers, community, leaders create those space for those people?
So with the notion of safe spaces in here, an experience or a place where there isn't so much judgment,
sure.
Okay? Because majority of the times we Ghanaians, we normally tend to judge, we victimize a lot. You go through a situation and I don't care. I would say that no, we don't do that. So when you come to a clinical psychologist office, those who want to come and see us, we create an environment where we do not judge our clients. Every single thing that you say is very important to us. So we take notice of everything that you, in the way you brush your hair, you wear your suit, everything is important to us because you are important to us. These are the things that we want our faith-based leaders to learn from. That we are creating a space where we are not judging. Someone says that you've done something wrong. That is not the time where you would have to stand up and you are wrong. Are you not a Christian? You should be doing no. We don't do that. My brother said a moment of vulnerability that expresses moments of weakness. We are human beings, so we all have weaknesses. It is okay for you to talk about your weaknesses and find out solutions to your weaknesses. So these leaders should provide that avenue. I will be able to without judgment, without fear, without fever. This is what we are preaching.
All right. You want to, yes.
So I think going forward, and as professionals, able to able to say public education and the need for all these faith-based leaders to take counseling courses. And I think now they've started. Because a lot of times, what I hear is, if you can ask some church of not often they preach, target preaching. In the do a whole way, man, almost but you won't have somebody hates so hard.
It's because I can't share.
It is a bit the whole new situation. Pokona starts all showing in a very suspicious way. Exactly. And it's not fine. Sometimes I don't blame them because they don't know. So for the not gender worker, they be on your council, feel there. I get pain and gun and coffee watching they pain and not to me a counseling because I mean my way more experience, but it's not like that. There are specific techniques to be a watch show, empathy, holding space for these artists that don't come naturally to people. We have them, but we don't know. And so I think going forward, if we get them to take these courses to see the need, why one members of the church now one mental health to hear, they can better help them. Because if they come to us they will complain that they are coming to us to when not everybody has money to access psychological services. So I think those of them will not be able to come to us. And if they are truly going to see the faith-based leaders, what we can also do is train them adequately to handle them, so they can hold space for them without judging or criticizing them.
Sure. So in all this, we have to heal.
Yes.
And we have to build that resilience. So having gone through trauma, stress, and blah, 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 in our Ghanaian setting, what are some effective ways we can build resilience and promote healing in our Ghanaian setting?
Okay. For the purpose of those who don't understand the concept of resilience, let me put it this way for us all to understand. Resilience is basically a mental immune system, all right? Just like the body immune system, where there's pathogen, it fights against it. So resilience becomes a mental fortitude, where when there's adversity, we're able to fight against it. We're able to adjust. We're able to find meaning and purpose to life, okay? So in the Ghanaian setting, the one key way to build resilience, okay, is by understanding each other better, okay? Understanding each other better and creating that cordial, cohesive interpersonal relationship that allows people to express themselves better, all right? Because societal or social support is a key way to building resilience. The absence of social support or family-based support brings about the sense of hopelessness, brings about the sense of not belonging, brings about a sense of helplessness, okay? But then when I am going through something and I know that my sister or brother is there for me, then it gives me the mental fortitude that hope is not lost. Gives me the mental fortitude that I can go through this. It gives me the mental fortitude that a 2 day I didn't cry, many 1 meal of food a day to eat. Did you get it? So the key is social support, family support, friend supportship is a key to building resilience. Moving away from there, then we come to the individual, understanding their perspective of what they are going through, where we can understand in their frame of reference what exactly is their view of what they are going through. If there's alteration or distortion in the frame of reference, their perception, we will find a way of correcting it in a more healthier way, okay? And then they begin to reassess themselves in terms of their strength to go through the hassle, in terms of their limitations, to change the limitation and weakness into strength to go through it. So basically, family support and individual strength or introspective assessment of strength and weaknesses are key to building on resilience to fight adversities.
Maybe so I'm in a relationship. During the relationship, something happened, and maybe a lady or the guy showed some kind of, or then the baby is there, or hurt him very well. The relations will break up. Now, subsequent relationship, you go through and you meet your partner. If the partner begins to exhibit certain kind of behavior that you may have seen already, then your mind will go there and you begin to. So how are you going to overcome those things so that you don't, when even someone or the person, the new person, exhibit that kind of behavior, you'll be able to overcome it, and the byproduct or the end product wouldn't be a breakup, but it will be a continuous.
Okay. To add up to this case scenario, I believe it boils down to the etiology, what happened that led to the initial breakup, and then if those things were completely or partly resolved, okay, or you just repressed it, all right. There's some aspect of psychology that focus on the subconscious memory, and then it affects on our conscious self, okay. So the subconscious mind and it affects on our conscious mind, okay. One way or the other, our previous experiences, our previous exposures have a way of re-emerging in our present life if those things or conflicts are not very well resolved. So then it goes to the question, I had an issue with my ex-girlfriend. What exactly was the issue? How did I understand the issue? What steps did I take to resolve the issue? Or I just brushed it off, hoping that the issues will not emerge. It looks like you are in the class and you've been given 1 + 1 and you didn't find a way of answering the question, and you left it that in exam, if it comes, you solve it. Did you get it?
Can solve it, yeah.
That's the same thing. So it goes back to we addressing the underlying cause of the issue, so that in future when it emerges, there will not be unconscious transference of what happened past tense to the present time, but rather we're able to solve it better. We get to have hand-on skills and the capacity to better maneuver our way through it and then become better for ourselves. That's what
So, Amante, I know children also go through trauma a lot, and some of them are unable to say, and some parents are unable to also identify that their children are going through those things. I would want you to help us, identify what are kind of trauma that children do go through, and how we can better protect and support their mental well-being.
Okay, so yes, exactly. So the vulnerable in the society, being children, women, go through a lot of trauma these days, and then it is something that is pervasive in our communities, especially looking at the current news. Justice for channel like this,
yes, sure.
You've heard about it. Justice for Ransford. All these are children who have gone through various levels of abuse, and it is very, very alarming. So majority of the time the emphasis is on creating safe spaces. Organizations can come together to create child rights. Organizations can come together to create some kind of safe spaces for some of these children to air out their concerns. Counseling centers should be made available in various schools. All right. So Ghana Education Service has an aspect of guidance and counseling sessions.
That's in secondary schools.
Secondary schools. They should be even trickled down to JSS basic schools, all right, because these children have lots and lots of concerns to tell us. So qualified personnel or mental health advocates should be made available throughout all these. Community leaders should avail themselves so that some of these concerns, the children's concerns, right? I think last 3 months we had an imam coming to us to talk to the youth, children from 8 to 19 on the use of Unim Red drug abuse. Yes, at the Zomo community. So this was a very good initiative that the imam did. We want more people like this to be, and we realize that children's needs, mental health needs will be curtailed. Yes. And to add a little bit to what my brother said about the relationship, introspection is very important. He mentioned it, but we need to be introspective. Introspection is when you take a good look at yourself. All right, probably the girl did something wrong, but probably 20% of the time, you too, there's something that you might have done to contribute to whatever the breakup was. All right, so take a look. We don't like introspection. Human beings, we don't like looking. No.
We don't want to find fault.
No. And that is the first thing, introspection. So it's a course. It's one of the main therapeutic things that you introspection. Look at yourself. You think you're perfect. You that you're pointing fingers. You think you're good. You're all good. You are okay. You look at this. Question yourself. Realize that there are certain things that you can bring up, that you can change about yourself. It makes you a better person for another person. All right, it makes you heal. That's the most important thing. When something of a breakup happens, in that circumstance, it's more like a loss. You are grieving. All right, so you need to first that, right? You need to be in denial. Small. Hey, this girl has left me. Hey, I never thought this girl would leave me. The way I love this girl. That's denial. Then anger sets in. You'll be angry. Look at me, I have money, I'm handsome. Why would this girl leave me? All those kind of, you go through all of that. But once you get to the last stage, that is acceptance. That means that you have truly healed. You have been very introspective. Okay, you've gone. I have a little bit of anger issues. I have to work on it. Okay. Then you work on it, and then you accept. Charlie, the girl has gone on, but as you said, there are bigger fishes in the ocean. Sure. You have to go move on, and then get another one will be even much more than.
Sometimes I have to say, when one door closes, another even the one that will open will be bigger than the one that closes. So if you have this thing at the back of your mind, certainly you will heal early.
Definitely. That is.
I know my brother B has gone through this.
I'm sorry.
I'm the only person who have never gone through this kind of.
That is very good. With regards to your brother, please, you'll be okay. All right.
Hey.
All right.
All right.
Let me
I think
add-
yes,
let me add
yes.
to what he said. So, on helping us to also identify children who are going through trauma, but maybe they are not talking about it, we can look out for certain signs, like maybe when it comes to physical trauma, bruises on the child. You realize that this child suddenly, he or she comes to school and then he feels pains, bruises. What is wrong? Maybe, and sometimes you realize that children talk a lot, so sometimes people don't take them seriously. This certain uncle has been beating me a lot at home. Let's pay attention and ask the right questions to the parent. Or sometimes as a parent, you leave your child with a sibling of yours. The child is saying, no, this uncle of mine has been touching my somewhere. But you don't pay attention to it. Maybe you realize that when the child is peeing, the child is screaming, you should know that there is something wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? And since we, the psychologists, can't be there in the classroom all the time, maybe we can do training workshops for teachers to be able to spot these signs among the children. There's a child, maybe you know the child is vibrant. All of a sudden, the child comes to school and it be someone shut down pon kasa, why withdrawn be or to class B and BB KKB on it. And sometimes when people are being traumatized, they go through something called hypervigilance. And so I don't know what's now. I'm why are too alert. In case somebody
Why?
no, there is something going on today. And when the people who go through trauma, it's like they are always reliving the events in their mind. And see, at every moment, so that's an there. What if this person too is coming to do this to me, to the relationship as somebody can? Maybe I don't know, abusive relationship or brand, so I be new relationship. Now you and then the boy and or you're vulnerable to boy and a boy and so about brand. Or now you know relive or not it is still happening. So don't pan of us today. We've had several issues, sir. Sometimes we hear that maybe the person was abused sexually as a child. She's a wing in wow. Look when you're banning champion. Only them flashback into one year machine because for none, she's learned that sex is dangerous. Sex brings pain. But also no complain, Mama, mayday am your uncle
Heal. No, call her. Solve the problems.
All the making into them saying popcorn, sign into signing around you, 2 months supporting into me open. People don't talk about it because of time like a stigma. Because also the Kaiba, I'll say Afro Bonnet day, hey, men kebu, and parents now be so account. If you are from Afroban Poka, hey, you're from Menkebu, a ban uncle no support if ye. Mrs. I can the master mean the sort, you know why you're better than you're better then. But if we give the parents that education, they have the right to, speak up against these things. We can help the person build resilience training because the minimum may be an obeyed and help professional, the introspection boss. Here be no what we know. One can identify certain things. Not and you may be no why you know healing. We can help you process it and help you to understand that it happened, but it's not now. So you'll be find mindfulness. We help you to stay in the present because trauma comes with anxiety. Anxiety is the something worse will happen in the future. But mindfulness will help you to stay in the present, help you to observe the thinking or the thoughts without letting it control you. Will help you to be self-aware. I'm having this thought of maybe I'm afraid this person will rape me. But it's just a thought. It doesn't have control over me. This is the present. I have control over the present. So this is the little I can add to what my boss said.
Unfortunately, our time is up and we have a lot to ask. But let me ask one last question that if we suspect that a friend or relative is struggling with trauma, but we won't talk about, what should we do?
So I think when first of all, we have to let the person know that maybe this is you have to try to find out from the person. If the person, we realize that no, this person may be going through this, what we can do is talk to a relative of the person. If you confirm, you can talk to a professional. Sometimes there are people who don't want to speak up, especially the children. They don't want to say anything. But if you tell a teacher in the right environment can get the child to speak up. I don't know if my boss too has something to it.
Oh yes. So when you find a relative going through this thing, majority of the time, because of the stigma, they feel that they are alone in whatever they are going through. Problem but once you get close to them and you do a little bit of self-disclosure is letting the other person to know, oh, I have been through your situation. They will have a sense of that kind of connection with you, belonging. Yes. Oh, that means that only you two. So how do you solve it? And the person will gain interest in trying to heal himself because they've now realized that they are not alone in this problem. So it is very, very important for us to once again get closer to them in a non-judgmental way. Okay, open up to them, self-disclose. Tell them that, oh, you know of someone who had gone through this and this. They did it. Then you realize that the people would avail themselves for help. So this is what we need to do.
All right. So we are going. What's your last word?
Okay.
Let me start from my right.
All right.
Okay, so what I would like to say is trauma is something that we all go through at every stage. Every once in a while we'll go through it, and I want you to understand that we are humans. When you are going through something, whether you are a man, you are a woman, it's okay to speak up. Being strong doesn't mean you don't feel emotions. It just means you feel and know when to express emotions clearly. So instead of bottling it up and going it alone, it's okay to let somebody hold presence for you every once in a while.
All right, come here.
Yeah, it's Samuel.
Hey, Samuel.
I'm
Yeah.
Kobna.
So,
come here.
Yes.
Sorry.
all right, so I want to focus on the healing process. Very often when we are traumatized or struggling with the sigils of trauma, we want to recover quickly. I want us to know that healing is a process. And the process, just like you planting a seed, it takes time to germinate. You have to have patience for yourself. You have to develop self-love, focus on yourself, take care of yourself, and trust and believe that as you begin the process, there's light at the end of the tunnel where you can recover. So we should not give ourselves over expected expectation for quick recovery. So
okay.
that's what I want to add.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So I'd like to let everyone be aware that there's help available. No matter what you're going through in this world, no matter the kind of trauma that you've gone through, always know that there's help out there. You're not alone in this thing. You'll never be alone. You have support. So avail yourself for the needed help, and we are here to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
all right. Thank you for your time. And this is where time will allow us to be with you. I am sure that you've learned a lot. And when you go through certain things, how you are going to handle, how you're going to be resilient, you've learned it. And thank you. You had Samuel Adam Kofi, a clinical psychologist. I've been interchanging the names. Sorry for that. CCTH, Jesse Larry Kobna, yes, clinical psychologist, and Jonathan Amate, senior clinical psychologist, all from Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. My name is Kojo Arthur. Thanks for watching. Same time next week. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.